Welcome to Barely Stable, an intermediate level podcast.
Hosted by Daniel Freeberg and Nick Barr. Produced by Daniel Rigdon, studio engineer Trevor Williamson. A cool disc golf podcast for intermediate players. This is the Barely Stable Podcast.
Live from beautiful Austin, Texas, this is the Barely Stable Podcast. We're ready to BS. Here are your hosts, Daniel Freeberg and Nick Barr.
What's up, everybody? We got a little bit of a different setup here in the studio today. We got Daniel Freeberg over on his own cam on the left.
What's up, guys? Sharing with Tracy Dedman, who's here with us.
How's it going?
And then, of course, in the booth, we have Mr. Rigdon, Mr. Williamson. But special guest in the studio today, we have Disc Golf World himself. We have Mr. Jefferson and Swiss himself. Let's welcome everyone. Them
What's up, fellas?
here today. What's up, Disc Golf World?
How's it going?
So if you guys are not aware of Disc Golf World, it's impossible that you're watching this and don't know them, I think. But if somehow those Venn diagrams didn't cross, these guys put out disc golf content that is really unlike anything else that's out there. It's fun, it's engaging, it's honest, it's not necessarily beating around the bushes too much, and more than anything, I think it's a lot of fun. We got to play around with them out at Roy G this afternoon, and I can confirm they're just good guys with, seems like all they like is disc golf and having a good time.
Sure.
And it makes sense why they kind of found this the podcast. So welcome to the show, guys. What do you guys got going on?
Man, we just been on tour for how many?
I think we're going on a month now. We've been living in the minivan.
It feels like one day or a week, actually. But on the grind, so we're on tour through Champions Cup at this point in time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be, 5 more weeks?
Yeah, we got like a month and a week or something. So basically our day is summed down to we wake up in a Cracker Barrel parking lot. We go to the nearest Panera. We script a video for the first 6 hours, edit the video for the next 4, maybe get around in it with this daylight savings. We've had time now, and then go to bed and do the same thing the next day.
That's not a bad life of disc golf.
It's not, no.
No.
So as you guys go on tour, you guys are part of the DGPT content program. So you guys have full access to practice days and your media at all the events, right?
Yes, that is the agreement. We're get free access. We are open to the practice rounds. They now allowed us in pressers. We can do part of interviews along those lines. They've kind of opened the doors far more than last year, or maybe we got bigger. I don't know which one it was.
A little bit of both.
Yeah, it could be a little bit of both. But yeah, and now they've kind of opened up everything, and we have a lot more access. They only really limit on what we can film during the rounds, and we're not allowed to film lead or chase card whatsoever.
But anything else that when the tournament's going on, you guys have open access to.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. So how did all this get going? Where did Disc Golf World, I guess, breed from?
Yeah, the problem with that is it could go back for years. Honestly.
Well, you've been making disc golf content for 7 years.
7 years,
now.
for not at this point. And I guess the start of it was just one random summer day. It was my 2 uncles and then my brother were down on something to do, and we all played disc golf at one point. We went and played around. We were all hooked at that point. So every week we were playing around, and then I at the time was just loved making videos. So I ended up making this channel called JK Disc Golf, where I was just making videos of me playing disc golf at the time. And this was 2017. So playing disc golf, no one really did that.
This is when 5 other content creators were in disc golf. There was nobody out there.
PDGA was still in the 10,000s.
Exactly. So we just did that, and then as I grew up, I didn't really like making the silly, stupid videos I was making any, and I like professional disc golf. So I went to my uncles who also I've been playing disc golf with for years, and I was like, hey, let's do a podcast where we talk about professional disc golf and our disc golf life. So we did that for another 3 years and it didn't go anywhere. So, and I was at this point about to graduate college. And ever since I was 16, I told everyone in my life that I was going to follow the disc golf pros who were in a minivan and document it. And I was going to have my uncle, Swiss Cheese, quit his job and come with me. And I graduated college and we did exactly that. And I think at the time we had 2,000 subscribers when we first hit the road, or something around there. And then I think when we ended it, we had 16,000 or something.
Yeah.
Gee.
I was looking at it yesterday. You got 20,000 now.
Yeah, we're just coming up on 20,000.
We're trying to get that many views. Total.
Man, trust me, it was our podcast days were struggles. You know what I mean? And we get it. But it made us better. Like, you know what I mean? It helped develop a presence. It helped develop our voice. It helped develop. Funny thing is, like, even the scripting part of what we do, because we are scripted. Because we used to have like the goofy segment where we called it Dream Doubles. This is gonna go real deep cut. It was called Dream Doubles, and essentially we took like pop culture and disc golf. So we'd be like, all right, who's the best Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles disc golfer?
I mean, obviously Donatello.
Yeah, man,
He's so wrong.
solid.
Feels like Raphael.
Right?
So we would eventually we tried to script those to be funny, right? And then it got to a point we went to LVC, the first event last year, and one day I was just talking to him and I was like, hey man, like content's long, disc golf content's an hour, 2 hours, like, and me being like a manager and like presenting stuff, it was always punch them in the mouth and get out, right?
Yeah.
Like deliver it and then run. And I said, I want to do something short. And I tried This Week in Disc Golf and it like got 20,000 views, like first one, and it just cranked. And then it was like, all right, now we're going to dive into what this has got success, dive into that.
Yeah.
So, and it's like, yeah, we had to go through trials and tribulations. Even his JK days, man, like this kid's not giving himself credit. A lot of people, if you watch YouTube, have seen types of disc golfers pop in there. Then that was this kid at 17 making it. So it's kind of funny. But like, yeah, we've had some duds, but now it's cool and it's a great time. Like what we're doing is we're comfortable. What the Pro Tour is providing us is great. Being able to experience it live, all that, and kind of giving another voice to pros is kind of awesome too. So I really love what we're doing now.
The dynamic that you guys are uncle and nephew, is that well known? Is that very well known?
I would have thought so. I feel like we say it enough, but every time it surprises people.
Yeah,
It kind of feels like it's tongue in cheek almost in the video. Like you're just sort of like
definitely leaned into it more.
Yeah, we have made efforts to lean into it a little bit more, but yeah, it was. And man, like we said, we're still growing constantly, right? Like we throw stuff against the wall, and if it hits, it hits, and if not, it's not. And shame on us for not being like, yeah, we are an uncle.
It's awesome. Even when you said it earlier in the course, I again thought maybe you were just joking, and then as you just said it again, it's like there's no way they would just keep saying this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So it does make the van dynamic a lot better. Like people always ask us if we fight and stuff, and it's like, I'm his uncle. It's a little different.
Yeah.
So like that does help, and like that's a whole other topic is the van life. I'm sure we'll get to at some point. But.
Yeah, let's talk about it. So you guys have a Chrysler minivan with a big eggshell on top.
Yeah.
It's a road warrior, I'm sure. But how does the sleeping arrangement work inside? Like, what's the game plan?
It's a process, and like, all right. It's manageable chaos. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Like if you guys were to look in our van right now, you'd be like, "Holy hell, what are these guys doing?" This
and
is
we know
just
where
crazy.
everything goes.
And we know where everything goes. So like to like get on the road, we have to set up everything. So we're pulling stuff and pushing stuff into spots, and then to go to bed, we're pushing stuff into spots to so like everything goes on the bed during the day, then everything goes in the front seat. Driver's side, so I can use in the bed, and this kid sleeps in the passenger seat.
What a sweetie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm awesome.
You don't want to be Little Spoon or nothing?
So that is definitely, and all that can fit in the minivan is a twin. So like, and it's tough, but it's fun. But yeah, it's manageable chaos. So it takes us like about 10 minutes to get set.
It's a routine.
Yeah.
We figured it out, though.
It's a process.
And you said you were using some of the Cracker Barrels and
Absolutely. Cracker Barrels are great.
Those are the best.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I gotta have a shout out to our boy Aaron in Nashville. Gave us a spot for 2 days, and then we had an uncle in Florida. We had a spot in. So anyone that gives us a spot, we take every time graciously. Obviously,
that's awesome.
But yeah, Cracker Barrels are always great. Everyone like, man, when you tell people like you're living in a minivan, first part. Disc golfers are all going to be like, holy shit, that's really cool. You get to go on the Pro Tour and follow it every day.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I want to do that. So, yeah. But then when you talk to like normal everyday people, it's kind of like you're living in a minivan, you're showering at Planet Fitnesses. Like, what part of this is enjoyable? And yeah.
it's not the cool flex.
It's not But it's also not as bad as what people envision. Like Cracker Barrels are incredible spaces. They give them every RV. There's always RV.
Always RV
there.
spots
Yeah,
in the back,
there's- yeah. Like it's not that tons of vans.
We've met
It's really
lifelong
not-
friends in
Yeah.
Cracker Barrels.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's awesome, dude.
Absolutely.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's a culture.
Yes.
It totally is. When we went across the country in our tiny home, that was our favorite place to stop. One, awesome breakfast in the
Yep.
morning that's not expensive at all. And two, you always meet people walking the dog in the morning
Yep.
that are just kind of doing the same thing, just traveling across the country. And there's a little bit of like camaraderie to that because you know life sucks on the road. So everyone's kind of like, I don't know, kind of bonds. Have you guys had a sketchy situation come up as you were on the road, like a knock on the door, parked in the wrong spot, anything like that?
Yeah, you want that one, or you want me to hit?
You can add
We did have a cop knock on our door once, and so we were in the middle of Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania is like there's nothing in the middle of Pennsylvania.
Middle of nowhere.
There's no. But it's
Quakers?
beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's beautiful. Like it's great to drive through. So we hit up a Planet Fitness randomly. It's in the strip mall. We're parked next to actual trucks, and we get a knock on the door, and it's a cop, and
A knock
What
on
are you
like my
boys doing
knock on
in
his
here?
window.
knock on my window side, and I
like-
did the classic. I'm just gonna not open my eyes.
And the problem was not that we couldn't stay there. The problem was that we were not in front of the Planet Fitness parking, and we were blocking another spots. And so they literally woke us up. I think it was at like 4:30 in the morning to have us move 3 spaces, like 3 rows.
So you
over.
said to move everything out of the driver's seat?
Yeah, and by that time we got up and like we were going to go to a course that was like like an hour away anyways. So I just got there and we just crashed in the parking lot for a little bit.
Smart.
Yeah. So
Let's do that. How do you deal with like extreme temperatures? Because like I know right now it's
Not well.
perfect out. Like the Texas later it gets hot and
yeah.
You suck it up, I guess.
Yeah, so don't get me wrong. There are times fans obviously sometimes we'll do like hotels when it gets it. Hot is worse for us than cold, because like we're also in a van, so it's that van's always going to be a little warmer. So when it gets hot, it gets hot. Last year while we were on tour, it only got bad in like. Man, it got bad one year, one time in Connecticut where like we just got a hotel. And even then, like that's not even glamorous because we're still trying to be as cheap as possible. We're putting like all this money back into our content, right?
Yeah.
And so we're staying at. I'd rather stay at the van at some of the places we stay for in a hotel choices. But when it does get like that, we certainly do that. But,
Do you guys ever stay on or near the course when you're on tour, like around where the players camp?
We haven't yet, but like, that only comes down to we don't know who to like ask. Like it's not like we wouldn't, but we're also the type of people that aren't going to like just go do it.
yeah.
Right.
Like we're very respectful with because we understand disc golf culture and like what the pros are, and we're not like you see fans like coming up to people during rounds and all that stuff. We are so not trying to be against that.
Yeah.
And when we're already the guy with a camera, like we're right now new on tour with some small ass camera trying to come 15 feet away or whatever from pros, but we already have this weird vibe to us. I'm not trying to invade their personal space, especially when sometimes we kind of talk shit online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Well, let's address that a little bit. Who do you feel like? Which pros do you feel like have the most awareness of y'all's content from maybe having a little bit of a critical reaction to that?
I don't think anybody has voiced it.
Okay.
Like, so nobody's voiced it, but there is a sense, like, so we were able to get put up at a fan's house in Waco. There were some pros there, and it was just like they didn't know how to behave, right? They didn't know if we're gonna report things back, and I think there's still that learning. So like last year on tour, we were very separate. Like this was our first time. We were nobody's 2000. Now we have pros coming up to us saying they love our stuff. Pros know us. They see our stuff. So it's a little different. But nobody's ever said like, hey, you said this line. Or like, hey, you went too far.
Yeah.
Anybody been extra cool that needs a shout out?
Huh?
Anybody been extra cool?
Simon loves our
Simon
stuff.
loves
he,
us.
He pumps us the most out of
Simon,
anybody.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
Simon,
amazing.
yeah, Simon
not
loves
even-
us.
Casey.
Casey White, Chandler Fry.
The list kind of goes on. I
yeah,
feel bad now that we started
yeah,
listing, and I
yeah.
can't list everybody, but
Yeah.
I had a bad moment with Casey White on accident at the tournament,
no.
and he's the man. He's awesome,
Yeah.
sweet boy. He's the best. When they explained the scoring thing to me, I was scoring at the Open. The lady, as she ran through it, she said it's very important that you get yardage right on distance to the pin. That's an important stat to put in. They didn't say it only really matters inside circle 2.
Yeah.
That like anything else you can kind of just put fairway. That's fine.
Oh.
So I started gunning, like I'd kind of walk and I would just Well, when I did it for the FPO, literally they gave me like glowing reviews like this is the most accurate stat guy of all time. And I didn't realize I was just being like a complete like on the spectrum about it probably.
Yeah. Little tism of it. Yeah. Gotcha.
So a few times I'd gun it and it was maybe this would have been the first I think it's hole 5 at the Open. It's that one where it's kind of all out of bounds in between you and the hole. They had to play to the right and play over. Casey White's second shot, I just gunned it before everyone got up there and kind of set back. I did a good job of staying out of the way and kind of in the back, but I gunned it. And the day before, every time I gunned one of the girls' shots, they always just politely asked, what did you get? Had no problem sharing. And throughout the round, it kind of just became like a normal thing to share.
Yeah.
I gunned Casey's, and as I'm walking by him, I go, you're about a 125 just from the laser. He goes, throws it, he birdies. Between the next hole, he goes, Nick, don't ever tell me how far I'm away again. I'm an instinctual player. And he was like so in the zone and so thing. I just went,
oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
and he was nice about it. It wasn't like anything weird, but it was just a very direct, like, Nick, don't ever do this again. And I was like, yes, sir.
That's
Got
the
you.
that's
I got
the
you,
weird
buddy.
thing, because now we have like relationships and we're kind of like buddying up, and it's like, I don't want to affect your round. Like, I don't need you to say hi to me. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't need a like high five. And like, so it's like, that's always a weird thing with some of the pros that we have now, just because
I'll take every high five.
Yeah, it's great, but it's not like, hey man, and Casey's cool, he'll come up, and it's like, I don't need this. Like, I try to like make it clear, like, hey, if you're feeling it, do your round, do your thing.
Yeah.
And then there's others that they just want to chat. Like they just want to chat. So
Do you notice that it's the sort of middle of the pack, bottom of the pack guys that are very chatty? It's a very communal sort of like more of a social event. And then like maybe the top 20% are very focused. That was something I kind of noticed in the MPO field.
I would agree. I think the middle of the road players are actually the coolest ones to talk to about the course, throws, shaping. They're some of the most knowledgeable guys, and they can break it down on like such a cool level. And they're usually like chill with each other. Like they're very like talkative. I think like probably what you've experienced on the scorecards, there's like MPO and FPO is so far like so different. There's like less chatter on the MPO.
Yep.
There's far more chatter in the FPO. There's like more camaraderie, rooting for shots. Don't get me wrong, the MPO does it too, but it's like a little bit different. But yeah, the mid-level guys are always, I think, some of the most knowledgeable. Like if you really want to break down a stuff, you talk to some of those guys and you're going to get a great lineup of like a great description of everything.
Completely. It seems like some of the higher level guys just have their way and they've just perfected their way, where I think, like you said, more of the middle guys are looking for different ways, or they're trying to find the best way to kind of put more thought into it.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. I love, those guys are sick. Like, man, even like a few names that pop up, like, Casey's one of them. Like, I just watched his In the Bag and what he talked about, like his disc as being personal, and it's like, wow, that's like kind of neat.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. And then that's the neat thing. Like, part of the cool thing on Pro Tour is like seeing the pros, and then like the other part that I really enjoy is just different communities and going in, like getting planted in a spot for a week, embraced by a community, and like learning stuff. Like I'm sure you saw us on the course. Like, I'm asking questions because I want to know what's going on. What's club like? What's this? And like hearing like out in Northeast, they're doing multi-state club tournaments where they're like traveling across state lines, and like then you hear here where you guys have like, I've been told 6 or 8 clubs and you guys never play against each other, and like
it's very strange.
Like, so like,
what have you thought about some of the clubs? I mean, you've kind of dove in deep. What's your thought on Austin?
The community is great. Your courses are incredible. And I will say, like, Texas as a whole, like even Waco, Austin, the fans are certain levels of like, man, like being able to be put up offered stuff. Like you don't get that at every stop. Like, and the fact that we got put up in Waco on like a 15-minute conversation with somebody, and then all of a sudden we're in their yard was sick. Like,
I know it's weird.
Yeah,
you think Texas. And
yeah,
you
oh
think,
yeah,
like,
man.
we
I'm
got
about
our
the
guns.
Mason-Dixon line, right?
But you know the state motto of Texas is friendship. It surprises a lot.
No,
of people, but
it definitely, it's definitely surprising. Like, you know what I mean? Out in other areas where you think they'd be more willing to do that, no. Like they'll do everything for you, like we're in front of you, but like, no, we're leaving after this.
And we're done.
Yeah. Out east sucks. I was out there when it was like 30 degrees, 40 degrees, and I was talking to all these people. Nobody offered me a hotel room. No one afforded space. No nothing. I slept out in the cold and like in the parking lot.
Brutal.
It was brutal. It was dope.
So, but yeah, everybody's here is embracing, and like the community's cool. The course is, like I said, Roy G was awesome, and we've been bangers. Like, you know what I mean? And Roy G's up there. It's definitely cool.
Reggie, especially they redid it recently.
Yeah.
And the redo, like it used to have like hole 18 used to be hole 1.
I got you.
And the old hole 18 was far and it was hard.
I hear you.
And so I'd always do like a triple bogey out there. And then you had like a mile back to the parking lot. It was like a really long, sad walk of shame, especially if it was hot out there.
And then the bridge washed out, and you had to cross the river with no bridge, which was rough.
For like not having much elevations, like I never like, because that's usually like a huge thing that's in play for my type of disc golf is like woods and elevations. I'm big, but for it not having that much, it felt like a stroll. It was like it was great. Like it was cool.
Where do you if you had to say with the different regions, kind of I don't say treating people differently, if you had to rank your favorite disc golf areas since you've been around, where would you put maybe your top 3 disc golf areas?
Number 1 is North Carolina. I feel you can't say anywhere else, in my opinion. I've heard everywhere we go, someone will say, "This is the mecca of disc golf. This area is the mecca." I don't even know what mecca is. I haven't heard that word anywhere else in my life. I swear. Like, but everywhere it is. But North Carolina, if I'm gonna say mecca, it's that one.
Okay.
North Carolina is definitely up there. What they do in Northeast is really cool too. Like. That league, like I was telling you about, amazes me, and it's in the middle of winter. Like, you know, so they're like throwing in snow and traveling multi-states or across state lines, and I think it's like New York, Massachusetts, and like Vermont.
Yeah, like 5 states.
Yeah, 5 states, and then they just
Well, I mean,
like
that's
that-
about the same
that-
size as
yeah.
Central Texas.
yeah.
But they got like they have like 10 plus clubs, I want to say, in divisions that go from like pool A to D with play-in pools each year. Top and bottom go switch out and up. It's like super competitive, like for money. And it's in the middle of winter and there's snow there, and it's
So it's not only is it like an inclusive, they include every level. It's just wild. Like it's like
That sounds
how
amazing.
can
that is
the
mecca.
fact the logistics of doing it is just nuts, and it's like I've been like ever since I've heard it, I've wanted to play it, and then. That one sticks out, and those 2 stick out. Texas, like I said, it's been like a week, even though we've been on tour a month, and I view Texas as we've been here the longest. And so when I say Texas, like I kind of lump Waco and Austin.
Oh, of course,
That's fine.
But like the camaraderie and the stuff, and the funny, you guys are a good group, funny, and I can hang out with anybody, you know, like, and the Texas swing is kind of cool too.
Oh, yeah.
I really do. Even though you guys have and wear mint everywhere. Like everything has been in Waco and in Austin. Everything's mint that I've seen.
It's strange how much of a monopoly they have on the local area. And I don't want to, there's no knock on mint, but there's just an abundance of it. And if you play a tournament, if you're an amateur, you're only getting payout in mint stuff. So like if you win anything, you can have some mint plastic and some mint hats. Like all the mint hats and shirts I have are all from tournaments.
Yeah, we went to the Brew Putting League. And that's
Red Horn.
minted out. Yeah, that's all minted out. I was like, man, what's going on? Everyone had mint on. It was wild.
Their business plan, if it keeps growing like that, maybe mint takes over the world because
it's very culty.
I don't know.
here.
You go anywhere else and I don't see mint.
Yeah,
So I don't know if I would say that.
Welcome to
Maybe
Austin.
Central Texas.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's their business plan, though. Is like they do all the tournaments.
Yeah.
You end up with all the discs.
Maybe.
and-
But yeah, that's another thing. I also like seeing like what people throw and like the regionality of that too. Like I enjoy that.
Where do you see that being? What's the, I guess, biggest difference in what people throw in different regions?
So it's obviously like where brands are, right? So like Michigan is huge discraft.
Right.
That's just discraft land. And so like you have those batches of areas, and then there's other, like some in Northeast, it's like whatever they can get.
Now it's MVP a lot.
Yeah,
now that it's like
now,
Simon and all
exactly.
that. MVP, like Maple Hills, all that.
MVP,
Just
yes,
all that.
everything's Maple Hill now, or MVP now too. But like, that's kind of neat too. And like, man,
You can usually tell, like when you go to different areas, who says Inova, who says Inova.
Yeah.
Like that's always fun.
yeah, that
Where do you get Inova?
Nova.
You
Like,
know,
who says that?
You've
Never heard it?
Inova?
A lot of
wow.
people say
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, well, I guess everywhere where I'm from, it's Inova.
Really? Well, they come from the word innovate.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not the one who does it, dude.
yeah. The Midwest thing. That's
Is it a Midwest thing?
Yeah,
Just
it's kind of
saying
I think
Midwest.
so. I don't know. Disc
Yeah.
Golf Jesus says it like for 300 days in a row. So
Yeah. So, but yeah, that stuff is neat. And that's like, man, just to being able to experience disc golf nationally is just wild. Like we were talking the other day, I think we've now hit every state east of the Mississippi on our road trip.
Wow.
And now we're starting to get more Western ones. And like, that's just nuts when we think of the courses we've hit and like the Beast,
Yeah.
Maple Hills, Failure, like it's just like, how are we experiencing?
And that was one of the questions I want to ask you. Like,
Sure.
do you get to play all of the
we
the main
to.
course
We try
tournaments?
to, yeah.
Or like not the tournaments, but the tournament courses?
yeah, we try.
That's
Yeah, and we're not doing it in the practice rounds. Like we say, we're respectful of pros, but usually the day after, we try to hit every course. Yeah.
kind of.
Did you play the Open at Austin?
No.
Did it-
Oh no, yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's the only one that we didn't.
They had,
We had-
they had a
yeah,
tournament
yeah.
on
Yeah,
Monday.
they had
Yeah.
a little
little-
Monday
Yeah.
swing with
Yeah, that's
motions.
partly why.
Yeah.
That's partly why.
Well, and we had to make a video. Now it's like harder because
Nah.
our
Yeah, work
videos
to
are
do.
more
Yeah.
intense than before.
Yeah, we went from like 1 video a week, 2 video a week. Now it's like darn near every day.
You guys do 6 at least videos a week at this point, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So how does one build from doing basically 1 a week to 6 a week? Like what was your game plan mentality going into
Well, I
that?
think we always did something and we never stopped whatever we were doing. So even like before Twig, we were still trying with other, like, I don't know the format, like the B-roll with pro clips, talk about professional disc golf. So then we were just doing that. Twig hit. So now it's like we never stopped ever. He's not missed a week. So we've done that every week. And then it was, oh, we should do something where we recap right after the tournament. So then on Monday, we did a thing called the weekend wrap up. Now we haven't stopped doing that. And then one day we were like, we should have a Wednesday video. So we're like every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Haven't stopped.
Yeah.
Then now this year we're like, dude, we should do a daily round recap after every round.
Yeah, like I think
Yeah.
we're at Worlds and we're like, how do we not do a round recap?
Yeah.
At Worlds, right?
Right.
And now it's like, well, we did it. Why don't we do it at every tournament?
Yeah.
And
That's-
like, so we just keep,
guys-
like you said, keep just grinding. Like,
You guys need more staff. Need
yeah,
to get another minivan.
yeah,
pretty
like
much.
it's as easy as it looks and somewhat sounds. Like we probably are on the course almost 8 a.m. We're leaving on last card, heading somewhere to write, recording that night, and then he edits it in the morning, and I'm getting shots.
Yeah.
So like I'm on the course getting shots, he edits in the morning, and then we get together for the MPO. That's like when
Yeah.
like I don't even talk to I tell my wife, like she'll call me on the weekends. I'm like, look, I can hardly talk to you. I really don't have time. Like, so I'll like tell her and I'm just like, hey, I'm sorry. I gotta write. I gotta do this. And she's understanding. She's incredible.
So you're married, your
Yes.
wife's home. How does she feel about you being on the road? Is that
My wife hates Cracker Barrels. Okay. And my wife is like, she's just fearful. So it's like,
Yeah.
she wants me to call her when we get to where we're at.
Yeah.
And I got to call her when I wake up. And like,
Oh, she cares
yeah,
about you?
Yeah.
That sounds
I
rough.
know it's
Yeah.
tough.
Simp over here.
So, yeah. So like, she's understanding. She just wants to be filled in. And like, she's really open and she's in school right now. She's becoming a dentist. So she's in school. So she has a little more free time. So
Gotcha.
now she's calling me, checking in the middle of the day, stuff like that.
So are you Jefferson's dad's brother?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then Jefferson, I'm guessing by your face, you're single. I'm kidding. Such a bad joke. Such a bad joke. I'm totally kidding. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
it
sorry.
wasn't wrong though.
I'm
He's
sorry.
wearing
I'm sorry.
sunglasses
I'm totally sorry.
indoors.
I'm kidding.
It's kinda-
I'm kidding, buddy. But how? What's dating life like on the road as you're covering disc golf?
Well, I broke up with my girlfriend to go on the road to do disc golf.
Hope she's not watching.
Sorry, I am
Nice.
sorry.
No, she's definitely not watching.
We should have talked
You have
about this
your
before.
uncle
I'm
over
No,
sorry.
I tell everybody it's funny.
Okay.
I tell everybody like that was like my like, hey, because I told everyone too, I was like, I'm gonna marry this girl one day. So it's like I have a reason, like if I have to do this, or it didn't make sense to like drop it. I guess.
Yeah,
I guess that motivates me.
that's good motivation.
I guess.
She pissed about it, or she gonna be sticking around like when you get back, or
I try to go back when like I'm back home. Then it's like she gets mad when I dip again to the next vacation spot.
Yeah.
But
The seasons are long, man. Like, what do you think about it? Like, those cameramen are like on there for like 9 months, and like we haven't done a full tour, but we did a 3 month, and now we're on a 2 month, and possibly more as long as we can keep getting the views and everything along those lines. So it's like, it's brutal. Like, it's not. It's long.
I love it though. I
Yeah,
love
but
it so much.
yet I love it every minute. Like, yeah, it's hard, but I'm willing to sleep in a dirty van for it. You know what I mean?
we were asking how you guys got as big as you did. It sounds like you got as big as you did because you've been fucking working. Like
Nah, it's
consistent.
about
It's
the
the
hustle.
clickbait, I think.
Well, I mean, I was just going to say this might be a good time to bring up a little bit of controversy. If you dive into any of Disc Golf World's comments, the most consistent comment will be some irate viewer saying, "This thumbnail was not what the video was completely about."
Yes.
Comments? What's your feedback on that? Because
First of all,
Yeah.
that's not even true. Everything is always connects. It's never just a blank. Like I would like to see the thing where it doesn't talk about the title.
yeah, I would say there's 0 times that I've seen it, and it's always baity. But
Yeah.
you do eventually talk about that one
See,
thing. But
you
you
say
talk about 100
clickbait, I say
things.
vague. Like it's like a drawing you into the story.
Yeah, that it's a,
If you're a
yeah.
disc golf fan, you were going to be entertained by the 10 minutes of your life. Like, I'm sorry. And I always treat it as like, if the worst thing you could say about the video was the title,
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we did a good job.
I agree
I love when it's
completely.
followed with, I love this so much, but the clickbait or the clickbait, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But I still loved it. It's like,
Yeah.
well,
I'm not going to start with a
I did my
spoiler.
job.
Hey, titles matter. I'm telling you guys,
Absolutely.
titles do matter. It's what's gonna help get clicks, and yeah, and
You guys seem to be the kings of it.
yeah, absolutely. And if we can keep you, that's on what we did, right? We created that.
Absolutely.
And that's the thought process on
Yeah.
it. And then it is, man, the weird thing about disc golf, and like I think we see it all the time, right? We just saw it last week with Earhart and his mistake, and everyone's like, "Oh, you can't beat him up. Don't beat Brian up for saying Ricky's gonna win." And it's like, guys, we can say stuff. It's okay. Like it's okay to be critical. It's okay to expect things. It's okay to like say it out loud. That
be a human.
yeah. Like we are beyond the days of disc golf when it was you had like you could only find 5 of you and you were doing newsletters and stuff like that. We're beyond that now, right?
Yeah.
We have month subscriptions. We have this. We have expectations. Let's start saying that, right? And so like I think a lot of it is some of that old guard, right? It's still
completely
like
agree.
you can't say the bad things about disc golf. You can't say this. And it's like, man, if it needs to be said, it needs to be said. And that's what I think. We've had troubles with our titles with the DGBT. We'll be real. Like they've also didn't like some of our titles, and like
What's some of the titles they didn't like? We're kidding. We're not gonna do
No,
that.
they just they just say that, like they're negative and they're attached to the brand, and I understand it, but it's like in all honesty, this is what people are saying out there, no matter what. And if we don't talk about it, we lose our validity to it.
And I can understand the title look and the thumbnail might not look that great, but when you look at the content and everything we say, try to tell me that we're just tearing you down or we're just being negative. Usually it's or at least trying to be constructive of the situation. And no, we're not just going to say you did a good job if you didn't do a good job. Like that's just not in the world we live in.
I completely agree. It never feels like you bury someone just for the sake of burying them. That never is the case. And it feels like you take some effort to almost like see some positive or take some other perspective out of it when you are critical. So I don't know. I commend you guys for the level of journalism you do, where there's not necessarily like that filter or buffer. We mentioned it when we were on the round earlier today that like if you're watching an NFL game, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman aren't going to be like, "Oh, incomplete pass. It's okay. That was fine. They'll get a better pass next time." Hell no. They're going to light him up if he's gone like 0 for 6. And a little bit of some of our more protected players, it feels like, kind of get some excuses made for him sometime when they're struggling on the course during coverage.
Yeah.
And I think your guys' honest take of that is refreshing. And I think more people, I think that's why a lot of people respond to it. It's certainly why I tune in.
Absolutely. And man, like when we have pros come to us and they understand, it's like, all right, cool, man, you guys get it, right? Like you guys understand that. And it's just a different approach. Like we don't need to be stuffy. Like that's not my disc golf. Like,
I agree.
And
it almost feels like PDGA and Disc Golf Network, while they're making amazing strides, they're certainly heading the absolute right direction. Some of the minutia they're missing is that they're speaking to their audience without really knowing the audience. They're trying to apply like a ball golf type framework and approach, mannerisms, even the way they sound as they're doing announcing.
Yes.
Like, is that really disc golf sounding voices? Like,
absolutely not.
Like, just let me hear you talk. I think that's why people respond to the Jomez post coverage more than they do the live coverage.
Absolutely. I agree with that. And I think like, there's a level to it also, you know what I mean? But you don't. They're trying to be corporate, right? They're trying to be mainstream, and I can
understand the brand. Yeah,
we'll be real, right? That's their goal, and it's obviously money and things of that nature, and I respect that, and like I get that, but you're absolutely right. Some of it is lost on the fans, and it's like I understand you're trying to get new subscribers. But yeah, man, we can have a good time. Like we could tell a joke every once in a while.
Well, and we rip on each other a lot on the course. And I think most disc golfers do. I think that's kind of part of the fun of it.
The culture.
Absolutely. And that's kind of the neat thing that disc golf provides, and that's what we try to provide. And I think in no way, shape am I ever going to be critical, like overly critical of a pro. Like I'm certainly smart enough to be like, yeah, whatever you choose is better than what I would do, right?
Absolutely.
But like, it's cool to like also part of what we thought is like what we view as disc golf also is like it's the players are the product, and like there's not enough of that. And so I think they're trying to be so nice because they do know, like they know that, but they're trying it in different ways to where they don't want to step on the pros. But it's like, man, talking about them, showing them, letting them talk about stuff is the way to go. And instead, they want to quiet talk about, oh, that was great, or that was this, and you know what I mean, stuff like that.
Do you think a little bit of it is protecting from some of the criticism? Because there are a lot of vocal players that like to, it seems like the most common feedback you get after a tournament's coming up, if it's at a ball golf course or at a course that's not one of the, if it's not a Maple Hill type level of course, like one of those 5 or 6 courses that everyone just loves, the tee pads suck. There's no drainage. There's the out of bounds was. There's a lot of feedback from the players on the course, and it feels like a lot of that's kind of just, I don't know,
swept under the rug.
I don't know, I've never seen it when it hasn't been fair.
Yeah,
same. You've noticed a lot of people had mention of the tee pads in Austin.
They were
a lot of people
soaked. They were like sogged in, like waterlogged.
It was almost incomprehensible how that was the solution for the problem, like as if rain was never going to happen. Was the thought when they made them.
And it's funny because I talked to somebody who did work on them, and I know they were working on them at nights till like 10 p.m. Like
they were working up early drainage. I took pictures of it.
I totally feel for what they're doing.
Same.
But like there's levels to it. Like so you can't not get as professional as what the DGBT is doing, right? And not expect as a player to have certain professional expectations.
Absolutely.
And you know what I mean? So I am certainly glad that pros are voicing it. Now, I think they can do a little bit more of it, but it's just the way the game's changing. And it's like some of these like TDs and some of these courses, they're gonna say, oh, the players are getting too prissy, it's getting this. I was like, no, this is a professional league. They're making money on this. I'm the product. I should have these higher expectations, and they should say it. And it's a weird, funny middle ground that's like, we're not there. And I think standardization is going to help with that. And that's what's like, some of that stuff is needed to settle some of those problems. But like those T-pads, man, I think we just did a short of Conrad literally dumping over on one of the T-pads. And it was because his foot hit the wood part of the temporary pad and it just slipped. And
that was a big discussion I was looking at on Reddit, where they were talking about, we're building this temporary course when we have actual good courses. It's like Roy G handles the rain great.
Absolutely.
And that would have been something where they could have played there, but we wouldn't be able to have the crowds to watch them. There's just not the space.
And then, so it's a funny ground. And you hear pros, they'll come out of these courses and they're like, yeah, the course is good, but it's not fun. And like, and so for them, it's just like, it's boring. You know what I mean?
Well, the problem is a lot of the pros that have the biggest opinions on stuff won't say it anywhere where it can be public. Like we did a video where we talked to as many pros as we can. Most, even the people that talk to us, it was, but can you leave this part out? Or can we not say a negative thing on this? Where it's like, why? You play 20 events on tour with all these different courses. You shouldn't be expected to like every single
course.
one. Because we had just the same amount of pros coming to us and be like, I love this course for X, Y, and Z. So you're still getting people that like it and don't. That's sports. That's going to be disc golf.
It's valuable feedback. Like DGBT can't improve if they don't know what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong.
And every player has a different skill set, different bat belt of things they can do. So like, felt like this really served people who could hit their lines and control their shots this weekend. It didn't necessarily favor a lot of the bombers. Like they had a couple holes they could go after, but for the most part, like that wasn't going to win you the tournament, just being able to throw 600 feet on command. Do you feel like those are the type of players that sort of like there's type of players that like certain types of courses or have different types of feedback, but it feels like everyone wants a secure tee pad. You know what I mean? So like that's the one thing that feels like across the board is secure. And another reason why it seems confusing why the players don't have some sort of union or representation where they are forcing the issue for just a safe place to launch a disc. Like you want your players to be playing the next week. You want them, the best players, competitive. Just have a safe place to throw the disc on the
I think if you talk to the pros, none of them will be able to come to one solution. Everyone will have say something different, and I think that's where the PDGA and everyone with it before they can standardize it is you have to go through the complaints and you have to go through, unfortunately, some of this where when you look at it, it's like the DGPT and pro disc golf is still young and in its infancy, where we have to be proactive. Now you see these complaints. Now if we don't see improvements is where we're going to see problems.
Even if they had a 24-month program where they were going to do a study, see what discs or what pads, whatever, just figure something, have some plan in place.
Exactly.
That could help.
And let's be real, like a lot of these temporary courses are being made and thought of to stop the elite disc golfers. They're not thinking of like every disc golfer that's on tour, right? They're trying to make it as difficult as possible, and who's going to like crush this course most likely are probably the top 5%. So they're designing these this way. So what does that mean? Okay, we're going to put this tee pad here because it's in the most difficult spot. But then it doesn't have flat ground around it that these guys can run up on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so everybody's trying to break each other's system. Like, so it's kind of a funny lay of the land, but you do have to like, so yeah, I want to put this tee pad here because it's going to be the most difficult shot, but it's not allowing a run up. Like or you're not allowing this, or it's not allowing that to the players. So that's a lot of where the players get complaints, is where it's like, hey, you're not considering it. That Laco at Waco, right? The temporary one there, lefties hated that course. They said this course did not consider lefties whatsoever. Like it was brutal for them, and that's right. It's because the TDs are thinking like. It's weird. People don't want high scores, so it's like I'm gonna try to make it hard to the people that can crush this to beat high scores. And like this course was cool because it's like you took away the bombs and made, instead of like people think harder and sometimes elongate it, and instead you said you're gonna do this. Now there was like a couple holes I was like, it was a little bit, you know what I mean? I thought, what was it? I didn't like 5. I think it was.
In the woods?
Par 4?
Yeah, the par 4. I thought that was a soft par 4.
Yeah.
That was a very soft par 4. And there was I want to say like one of the holes in the woods also had like not well enough defined lanes, I think, but it was like only one or two of those. But like other than that, I thought what they did was great.
And a huge improvement from last year too,
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
night and day difference. I feel like they took all the feedback, the flow of coming in, where you parked, where you got to start. I mean, even just the big runway there, where 18 finished and one teed off. That was great.
Yeah.
It felt like they evolved, and that's why even people are going to be critical, but really it's just good feedback points. Where if you take that data, it can just be even better. Like everyone sees you doing awesome. That's why everyone's there. That's why everyone bought tickets. That's why everyone participates in the tour, the player wise. It's not like everyone's going, "This is trash," and I'm giving it up.
No.
You know, it's just a little bit of feedback to get better. It's kind of weird that they're so resistant to it.
Yeah, and there's few people in that room, and you're right. I don't think there's enough player representation in that room. Like as far as designing where courses are going, what's going to be put, what's needed. DGBT has certain guidelines. They need internet. They need this access. They need that. So like, it's a problem. Like as that grows, this is going to be a continually growing problem.
Yeah,
and like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? That's where disc golf's at right now.
Did you just come up with another business, the Disc Golf Players Association?
There you go. Yeah.
Look at you.
I mean, I emailed a couple lawyers actually about how do you set up a union? Like what's like an advantageous way to set it up where it's like basically player ran and there's no like there's a lot of bad unions in Hollywood where I don't want to call anyone out here, but like their business model is based on more people joining. Yeah. So unless more people are paying in union fees, their business model goes away and they can't even help the people that have been in the union forever. There's got to be a better way to set that up where it's just small and tight and it's just for the pro divisions and they just have like a centralized rep that can take all of their feedback and then just represent them in like a way that almost like a congressman represents their like constituent of people. And right now I know they have some boards and some things set up, but it seems like there's just like 6 people on them and it's not the voice of everyone. It's just the voice of those 6 people kind of giving the feedback.
No, it's definitely needed, and I think it's gonna get there. Like
so too.
as
Or
it
one
gets
bad thing away, I think, of happening. Like one just big thing where it's like, shit, we need that.
One disaster.
Someone will snap their leg.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it could. Like on a temporary T pad. Yeah, man. Like when I was there and Conrad went down, I was scared. Yeah, like
almost like a
absolutely. Everybody held their breath. Yeah. And then it was like,
that's disc golf Jesus.
Yeah,
we
man.
can't be hurting
and then he, of course, he got up and he was fine, and he did let out. He did let out a few swears, but that was the best part.
He did not.
Yes, he did.
Yes,
good for you, James.
Yes, every so often he'll hit a couple. Yeah, but yeah, I think they'll get there, but it's something that is missing, and like you said, they're walking it right, so that the TD's walking it with the DGBT before the tournament starts. Everything's walking. There should be some type of player representation in that walk, also.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, DGBT does a good job. Like as far as like pros will go to them and say, hey, this is a problem. This is this. They'll hit them, and then the TDs are always working on something.
Absolutely. So it feels like they're constantly working, and that's not to take anything away from it.
No.
We one of the posts we made, I think, as we're coming in through number 2, they were digging a ditch to get the male tee box drained, well before they came through. Yeah. And I mean, you see 10 guys digging a ditch. There's no lack of effort. Everyone's trying, everyone's doing the best they can.
I know at Waco, like behind the scenes that we saw at Waco, there's a guy who got up 6 a.m. to take out a hornet's nest.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Nice. So this is the stuff so there are talks, but there needs to be more.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's a kind of a testament to getting the feedback, because I feel like last year a lot of the players weren't happy with the course. They fixed that, but now it's 2 years in a row where we've had rain and shitty weather. So I think next year we'll have better tee boxes. It's just it's a process.
I think so too. Yeah,
and they need the feedback.
Doesn't that complicate the relationship? That's why pros don't want to speak out publicly, because they can call or text and they have that kind of rapport to where they don't want to shit on someone that they can just call and be like, hey, help me with this, help me with that, and instead publicly to kind of shit on everything seems counterproductive for them.
Yeah, and when you have sponsorships, and it is sponsorships, like they're not employees, right? Like let's be real. So like there's a level of not being protected when you're when you're being sponsored as a voice as a versus employee. So like you got to be cognizant of what you're saying. And it was cool. And like I can appreciate like there's plenty of pros when we did that, like when we talked about that 25 player one video that we did, there's plenty of pros that said like, hey, I don't want to be in this, but then talk to us about the course.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Hey, I don't think I'm going to say anything good, so I'm going to not be on this, but like, hey, this is what my problems were. And that's the stuff that I can respect.
Yeah, it's
like,
professional.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
And
like,
Rick, I think you made a good point there too. Same thing.
Yeah. And you're right. Like it's difficult for them to step on a limb. And so like, that's why the big names in the sport need to do it. You need the Pauls. You need Paul saying like it's a ball golf course, right? We need that. We need the Simons. We need those to be like really vocal on those points in times. So that's why, and that, unfortunately, I think that's where the sport has always been, where it's the bigs that drive the conversations, and these guys just need to do it more. That's all.
So our last big question here, and this is, I don't know, I would hope that you could go as wild as you can here, but if you fast forward 1 year and you could implement any change you wanted to the Disc Golf Pro Tour, what does it look like next year with your changes?
I never thought about that.
So I will start. I can go so many different directions. For one, I would do right now on the pro side standardized tees.
Okay.
I'm not even going to start the conversation about pins. There's too much in there, right? There's manufacturers, there's this, there's that. I would start with standardized tees. I would also try to do what chess.com did. I want manufacturers sponsoring tournaments, not disc manufacturers.
Yeah.
I want third parties coming in sponsoring events.
Yeah, I don't think that. Like,
I don't think that's gonna happen.
The issue with like them wanting to do that.
But
not
like
with
that would be like
Disc Golf Pro Tour.
Dream World. Like, but like that would be what I would try to have each pro tour spot, and then. But
why would you make that change?
Fastest way to grow the sport, right?
A, it's fastest way to grow the sport. B, I want manufacturers' money going to pros, not to sponsoring events and doing stuff like that.
Great.
I wanted to go more towards the pros and allowing pros living wages to go out there, because there are 17-year-old, 18-year-old kids that are Gannons that are crushing, and then there's 19, 20-year-olds that are struggling finding sponsors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the scary future. But my scary future of the DGBT is like it's going to impact pros more than the actual manufacturers. And then like, but also like as far as what the product goes, I do a shakeup of like how we're approaching it. Live, there's always a piece for live, but I think there's faster, more consumable content.
I think that would be my change. I don't think that the focus should necessarily be on just live. I think there is a live for the dedicated people, but the sport is so small still that you need people to be in love with it. You need the passionate people. There's not enough people putting enough money in it to give enough to just watch the sport live. You need people doing what we do to get other people invested in the players, to give them money, the other random manufacturers to get more money flowing in them, or we're really going to see the day where it's just Inova Discraft and I have to throw that shit all the time.
Yeah, man, it's brutal. Yeah. And like as far as like even camera work, like don't you want to see like the best shots of at the tournament instead of lead card, instead of this? And like that's what's being lost. And again, it goes back to the pros are the product, and I want to see. You know what I mean? We're not seeing enough of the Casey Whites. You know what I mean?
Agree
like his shots and how he's attacking this and all these other pros and how different. Yeah, AB highlight reel sky hyzers are great, right? And it attracts people, but there's other levels of like breaking down shots and what other pros do. Like being on the tour as long as we haven't seen all that, like that's the best part about it is like just seeing incredible shots. I love sitting on a hole and just filming every pro.
Yeah,
just seeing how different they are.
That's they've kind of started that.
Yeah.
Now. You know, they've got the live shot
Sure.
from certain holes every week.
Yeah,
and a lot of times it's even
clever.
on YouTube. So.
Yeah,
I think that there's like a weird thing too in that is one of our biggest, or actually our biggest video of all time, which was before we even started doing, is we sat in 2022 Emporia and we filmed hole one like 30 people filming, and we just posted 30 people throwing hole one.
Yeah.
And I got 250,000 views. And I was like, why? Like, why is all these random people just? And it was all, the funny thing was, it wasn't disc golf people that were watching it. It was like, what is this? What's going on? A lot of people shitting on it, like, why are you doing this? But it's like all these people getting exposed to disc golf for the first time. It's like, okay, what did about YouTube push this to all these people? Because I can see like people were engaged for the full 30-minute video or whatever it was. What about
Fast
this?
cut edits,
and
fast cut
and
stuff.
as a content creator in my head, it's like, cool, this for some reason works.
Yeah.
Because we replicated with another video on a different hole, it got like 150,000 views, and that was the only 2 unfortunately we had. But at the time, it was like, holy shit, like this, and that was the vision of Disc Golf World in our high or whatever we were doing at the time. We were gonna go on tour and do that. That was the plan, and like then obviously that switched,
hit,
but that
Yeah.
switched. But like I still think that there's a way to like engage with these people that aren't disc golfers to get them interested in the sport that isn't the way we're communicating it right now.
Yeah, it seems like it's I don't say a fool's errand to think that people who aren't exposed to the sport are going to get into it based on how it's being presented to them now.
And that most people doing it think it's super easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just watching it.
Yeah. Have you ever humbled anyone on the course by taking them when they thought
the
this
time.
go? Yeah, it's my brother-in-law thinks he's like world class at. I mean, he's a pretty good athlete, don't get me wrong. But then he tried to throw a disc. He's like, wow, it's a little bit
So
just
different
a
than
bit
most
harder.
things you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think though I guess of the growth of the sport, that is going to be something that kind of I don't say prevents the growth that kind of like we rode a pretty big bubble coming out of COVID, and then it didn't have anything to support that kind of rise. So it leveled and kind of dipped, and now it's going to look for another place to go up again. But in order to do that, it doesn't feel like just the sport is enough. I think you're right. The personalities and the people that like kind of build the sport, and not to like but Pat McAfee effect, if you will. Like I feel like you guys have a bit of that going for you on the channel. I feel like you guys have a very similar projection as he had. You guys are probably on that. I mean, you guys are well on your way already there, but that type of personality and impact, because you do have to get invested in the players, but you also have to get invested in some people like you that are out there doing coverage. Like that also helps. I feel like maybe you guys haven't mentioned yourself enough in the sense of like what you're doing is kind of, a little bit of the hard work that actually is going to grow the sport.
There's stuff like, man, when we're on the road, we don't have time to look back. Like, you know what I mean? But when we do, when we're like, hey, nobody did this and we just did that. Like, you know what I mean? Like some of the stuff, like, man, and some of our videos are like, I love our hit pieces. Like we did a hit piece on Tatar, and we did a hit piece on Isaac Robinson.
Yeah.
Like
where
hit
like
pieces is maybe like the
no,
nice.
Yeah, but
yeah,
we
but
get what
we-
you're saying.
no,
Yeah.
but where we just dug in and we tried to we researched and we like really like dove in and like really broke it down and like
life,
and like there's not enough of that, and there's not like there's just I
We
think
call that a profile.
yeah,
instead of a
profile.
hit
Yeah,
piece.
sorry, that's probably a better piece. Yeah, but like little stuff like that, like is just missing, and it's like I hate that the view of our content is either long form, and I apologize, I say this on a podcast.
No,
but
we
like,
get it.
Yeah,
Yeah, we totally get it. Yeah.
Super long at times.
You're the one of the
it's-
shorter podcasts in disc golf.
Yes,
too.
you are. You are.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And usually there's sometimes a bit of stuffiness, and then like everything else is like fast twitch, like 90s style, like highlight cut commercial like ish. And it's like, man, we're so more diverse than that. And disc golf is so more enjoyable on a different level than just that.
Yeah.
And let's show more of it, and let's tell it, and let's make it easier on people. Like that's our biggest goal, is just trying to make it easier on people. We fell into it. Like we tried something and it worked, and like we said, okay, this works. Now we're gonna focus on this. And then we tried something new, and that started working. Like, and I think there's not enough innovation with some of it, and content creating. I get excited seeing stuff like that. I get excited like Gannon and the Aldens and them working on stuff like that, because that's the stuff that's just gonna go and make the growth that we really see, as opposed to the DGN.
It's not going to be long before Simon is the most subscribed disc golf YouTube.
He's gonna Joe
overgrown
Rogan
as
it.
over. Yeah,
He's gonna Joe Rogan the podcast
yeah.
for disc golf.
Simon
that
It's
dude
gonna be very
loves
fast.
disc golf more than anyone that I've ever seen. And that
absolutely.
guy's not going around,
Yeah.
especially once he's done playing.
Yeah.
I could see him just chilling out in his house talking about disc golf forever.
Yes.
Yeah, I could
would
see
be
the
great.
alternate broadcast of any event, and it's just Simon doing the talk over. And he's just doing it from his side. Yeah.
Says-
I'm excited when Simon's not.
I tried to pitch him that so many times.
Simon says.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it'd be awesome. Like
Yeah.
you just answer questions.
Yes,
dude.
absolutely.
That
Yeah.
seems like a no-brainer home
I
run.
feel like we could do a
Better be
fake
his
King
first segment
Climo
of the pod.
version
Oh,
of
yeah.
Simon.
Yeah.
Oh,
But-
Simon
Yeah.
says.
I'm like I said, Simon. After he's done playing, that's when I'm most excited to see what he really does for disc golf.
Same. Have you guys seen the Ken Climo on X? Are you guys
Yeah.
aware of this?
Yeah.
What are you guys' thoughts on this?
So my initial ones was cool, clever. You know what I mean? Then I think he pushed it to a certain extreme, and you started being divisive, like. And then, like, also the whole ownership of, like, not being a parody. Like, everybody knows you're a parody. It's okay to say you're a parody. Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's also quasi weird. But I don't, there's spots for that. That's the only thing I don't get around. But some of his stuff is still funny. I'm assuming him. Sorry. I don't want to put a gender on it.
Yeah, we actually don't know for sure. Yeah.
Account,
Yeah,
holy fuck,
but like,
right?
so like there are times where I'm like, man, that's a little too far. But then there's times where like, that's pretty clever.
Sometimes
That's pretty
the account
funny.
is
Yeah.
just overly a dick, and it's just
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Yeah,
like that's just such like the easy stuff sometimes where it's like you're not funny if you just take
If you're
it
just
down.
mean.
Little,
hey,
little bit low hanging fruit.
Yeah,
there.
yeah, hey, like that wasn't. It just seems like to me, it's like, man, you're not that funny then. Like,
yeah, and like it's also like you got to transition off of like the three topics that. Like it's either Drew Gibson, Natalie
yeah.
Ryan, like you know what I mean.
I think Drew
Diversify
Gibson
on
never
that,
called him back one day. I
Yeah.
think he gave
Yeah.
Drew Gibson his number, and Drew
Sure.
Gibson just never texted him.
Yeah,
and he's just,
something.
But like,
Yeah.
definitely the wrong way
yeah.
to go after Drew Gibson. Like, that's like so like he's not gonna respond to you if you're like doing that.
You were Drew's caddy.
I know the ins and outs, man.
When they first reached out to us, because when I first got it, I didn't know it was parody.
Yeah, I
And
get
so
you.
I was,
he sent a group text to all of us.
Yeah.
Our
I was-
first follower on X is Ken Climo.
really?
Can you believe it? He said he was
Climo.
interested in being on the
I'm
podcast.
not gonna lie, I would have just saw Ken Climo on social media together and be like, yeah, that ain't.
that,
that
that,
ain't-
yeah, and that's but I'm old. I don't do social
get it.
media. Yeah.
Fair.
He man, trust me, he's my nephew, and he's always like,
That was my first
on me about
foray
that.
into
Yeah.
X, so I was like,
Yeah.
hell yeah, let's go.
They
Cool.
just want, apparently.
Maybe, but
What's the age difference with you guys? Should have asked that.
I'm 22.
yeah, 20-year difference.
So 22, 42.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's basically the two demos of disc golfers,
Yeah.
though. So you
Yeah.
guys
Yes, sir.
hit the Venn diagram perfect.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We got it locked in.
Kinda.
That's what's kind of I think that's the dynamic that we kind of weirdly hit. Like
Yeah.
my humor only he will not get, and like I'll be like, hey man, when I said twins, this is what I mean.
Yeah, I gotta text me the pop up.
Yeah, like, I gotta like show him stuff.
Yeah.
and then there's a level of trust that we have. Like he edits like the video, and like I give that to him. It's like I don't want to. You know what I mean? I'd rather focus on trying to write, do this, you do that. It's the way you want. And it's kind of how he grew up. And I think that's in large part why we're partly successful is what his edits are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the humor, it's that, but it's that fast twitch, cut. And like the other thing is like we just make it about disc golf. It's not about us.
Yeah.
So it's just like we're just trying to be about
yeah,
disc
the
golf.
whole goal of the
That
beginning
was what we said.
Yeah, it was try to keep our opinion out of it.
Yeah.
The problem was our biggest growth. It seemed like was the off season when we were trying to grasp at straws sometimes. Like not
Yeah.
gonna lie, but we set
Yeah.
a standard of like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and we never went back. And then
Yeah.
December we did a video every single day,
Yeah.
just because why not?
Yeah.
And so it was hard sometimes, but like if you look back at it originally, it was just recapping tournaments. It was
Yeah.
never about anything about us. And now we're back to that, thankfully. Like, it's fun to just. It was so hard in December to write videos about like nothing, and now it's like holy. I have to like stop writing. This video's gonna be too long.
Yeah. You can only talk so much of where Gannon's going and where Eagle's going, like every week, every day.
Discmania?
Do you,
What?
honestly, do you find it odd that everyone's calling it a hot take that Discmania has an awesome team and that people from Finland are good at disc golf when it's
No,
just
it's a
like
hot take.
every single person is aware of that?
Yeah.
It's not a hot
They
take.
can
Oh,
read. Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You're noticing the Finnish flag
Yeah.
all over. Yeah.
But man, I'm excited. Antala was a huge one to watch. That was cool. That was
Huge. And
definitely
I mean, killer instinct too.
Yeah,
going down the
he did.
stretch.
All their answers
Yeah.
too. Like he's a killer, dude. Like,
Yeah.
he answers.
He got that
things
dog
like
in him.
He was gonna be a world champion someday, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
Watching that made me feel really dumb because we did our disc golf draft. None of us even thought about it. Name never even came up.
Oh, wow.
And it's
Who
like,
do you
homeboys
think the first pick of our disc golf draft was?
Don't-
Freeberg had the pick.
Wait, draft
Don't-
like
don't-
We
it's
could
a
pick.
tournament.
We could pick in the open anyone in any MPO or FPO. The rule was you had to have 2 MPO,
Ricky.
one guy from Texas, or it could be a girl just had one player from Texas, and then 2 FPO players. Who was the first pick by Freeberg?
I'm gonna go with Ricky.
It was-
What's your guess?
You're thinking too smart. Yeah.
That's too smart.
that's
Ricky's
that-
too
whoa, whoa,
smart
whoa.
as the #1 pick.
That's
I
I
was
wouldn't
smarter
say
than
that's
my
fair.
#1 pick.
Oh,
we were
wow.
talking-
He wasn't playing in it. Yeah, I assumed you didn't realize he wasn't playing. And picked-
No, I think. Oh no, yeah. He did. He sit out the. Wait.
Huh?
He did.
Oh, he played
no, he
Waco?
played Waco. He did.
Yeah.
He set out the.
oh,
open.
this was like the tournament. or like just
This
the
was the season draft.
Yeah, we draft for the whole
Oh, the
season.
whole season.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. I think
Man,
that's just
okay, and Ricky's too smart.
Well, that's too smart a pick.
Oh,
Ricky was.
wow.
Yeah.
You went.
It wasn't a great pick. I love the guy. Been a fan of him for a long time, but
feel like I'm
apparently
not
he's
gonna
not
be able
as
to guess
good
Now I
as he
can't
used
guess
to be.
it. But like, it should have been either like a Heimberg or a Gannonberg.
It was
That's
it was Paul Macbeth.
Oh wow.
And Nick was so sweet. He was like, "Oh yeah, 6-time champion Paul Macbeth."
Oh my god.
I was
Smart
just happy
pick
to get
by
the actual
Freeberg.
first pick.
So what'd you go with then?
I went with Vinny.
Okay.
Thought that was a safe one. Yeah.
That's fair.
fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. He hasn't done me really great. I still love the dude.
Yeah.
He's gonna get better, man. He's
will get
coming
better.
around. He's getting warmed up. He's a little older
yeah,
now.
man, we were talking about on the course of like that par 5 that he went forehand on and didn't go backhand. That was kind of me saying like, okay, he's getting healthier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just cash for the first time
Yeah,
this year, man.
absolutely. Yeah, it is. So,
But
but
yeah,
no,
maybe not.
it still should have been Vinny. That was dumb.
Yeah. I mean, I realized that after I watched the episode and then some more of the tournament.
Like I could understand like doing a Tatar. Like if
Were you
it-
on the spot, or did you know you had the first pick?
I didn't know I had the first pick until right before we picked.
Okay. Maybe then I'm gonna go with you.
Yeah,
stumbling.
no, I get excited and I stress out, and whatever
Yeah,
comes to my
that's
mind
fine.
comes out my
I might
mouth.
think
and,
Paul too at first. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like if I was
You're
nervous.
being way too fucking nice.
I,
that was
um,
terrible.
I picked an FPO player who is going to give birth to a baby in July. So
yeah.
we all make mistakes.
I gotcha.
Yeah, that was
I did scoop on Scoggins.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that
she's
was-
doing me right. So
So, yeah, man, what, does she ever, I don't, has Katrina Allen said when she's
doing July.
but she didn't say when she's going to stop playing?
No, there's
I
not
think
that
she
out
said
yet.
after Champions or some. I mean, it's
Timeline that would check out. Give her like
Gotcha.
the last trimester. She's doesn't look as though she's
No.
about to have a baby. She doesn't look pregnant at all. She, I know she's like the tiniest girl, just anyway.
Yeah.
But she's carrying. Almost looks like Paul is carrying the baby weight just a
Yeah.
little bit more than Katrina Allen. I think he's got that little bit of dad.
He's got
Little
a
bit
dad
dad.
I thought he was
bod
doing the
going.
Babe Ruth thing. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I thought he was
maybe.
going to start calling out his shots.
I think he just, I think Paul may have, he was injured, right? So he's not playing.
Injured, and
Yeah.
he's just getting older.
Yeah,
he's not
just
the young
getting older.
25-year-old guy anymore.
And he
He
had a
got paid,
kid.
dude. He doesn't need to
Kids,
do
yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
He's the
Yeah,
goat.
Yeah.
He's also 6'5".
Paul can do whatever he
Yeah.
wants. He can wear any paisley printed shirt that I can make fun of later.
I'm hoping he does like a matching shorts and top shirt, like a
man.
Miami guy type thing.
Dude,
where-
dude.
yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
I'm hoping I can get him on Team Potato.
Team Potato.
So Team Potato is one of the many clubs here in town. This captain of Team Potato, Mr. Freeberg.
Nice. How many potatoes are there?
I don't know, about 30.
There's a
40,
sack. There's
I
a
think.
big
Yeah,
sack.
big
Big
sack.
bushel, maybe a bushel of potatoes. Yeah.
There's some hardcore taters and there's some side taters. There's some tots.
Do you only play one course? Are you
No,
like-
no,
No.
Oh.
He's the most reasonable
Okay,
leader. of a
that's what I
group,
heard. Like
yeah.
everyone's told me, like every club owns a course, and that's all they're willing to throw, and they're not willing to go anywhere else. That's from a fan told us.
That's a little true. It's more so
okay.
that we have like keepers of courses. So like
gotcha.
like the Marymore Seawright Club just basically does upkeeps. They'll
okay.
switch the course once a season. They'll do from C right to C wrong, where they just basically reverse a bunch of holes.
Gotcha.
Same thing with like the Waterloo guys. They're like the caretakers of Zilker Park, one of the oldest courses in I think the country. I think it's the most played course in America. It's a little pitch and putt if you guys have time. It's right downtown. You thought the view at Roy G was good. The entire time you're on Zilker, I mean, all of the skylines right behind you. It's pretty awesome. Yeah,
it's pretty dope.
cool.
It's
You'll
a
get a lot of
nice
that.
course.
Yeah.
They're doing a little flex out there on Friday
Okay.
for USW GDC.
Nice.
You
Yeah.
guys will probably be a little busy on Thursday,
It's
Friday.
half days
yeah.
though for us, kind of.
Yeah, but Mike, this is kind of like a.
Oh yeah, this will be interesting. Only the
it's
FPO. How
kinda-
many? There's 100 people signed up right now. How many of that is in the FPO? And I guess it would be FP40.
Dude.
Yeah, I'm
I
guessing
just
there's
show
probably
up.
like.
These guys.
I just
Yeah,
show up and record back
But that's the funniest part about like
all the stats
hey,
about disc golf on
yeah.
the entire internet. What?
Yeah, that's the funny thing about like van life. Also, is like my wife hates it because she's like, "Well, where are you guys going next?" I'm like, "I don't know. We wake up and whatever we want to do."
half my day is figuring
Yeah,
out
like
what the day is.
And so like when it's tournaments, we know we're gonna show up at a tournament, and But it will be interesting. So it should be half days. This is I think our third or fourth USW DGC.
Nice.
As like
Nice.
fans, if you guys can get out to a USW DGC, they're usually like in general. All right, one thing I would say about like we've been on enough stops.
Yeah.
If you're gonna go first, go to FPO. Like FPO is far more entertaining, far closer action, and less pouty. Like in all honesty, and like so I enjoy the FPO action. I enjoy going out there as a fan, and then like I think then when you see that and then you get to the FPO or MPO, it's really cool. Like then you're seeing like, all right, I can't do that. Like
Yeah.
You can sneak into some places that you're not supposed to be too, because they're like, "Oh, you want
Yeah,
to see FPL
yeah,
post?
man.
Come on."
yeah, like
Go right behind the
Hey,
keypad.
that's another secret. Hey,
Spilling all the
if
beans.
you guys do not have VIP passes, make sure you get to FPO early so you can get to those holes that you can't get on VIP, and you sit, and now your MPO comes through. Those are another some
Just be respectful.
and and be respectful.
won't get
Yes, and my other my other one is I always tell all the fans because there's they got ropes and they got this and they're always like, man, we should just. I always say there's more of you than them. Like, if you guys really want to take this over, you can really take this over.
Yeah, there's just one meek guy with a little sign.
Yeah, it just takes like
credit card people around. Yeah.
It's like it just takes a group of us.
Yeah.
It takes a group effort. But now that we have media vest and stuff, now there's like I feel weird. I'm not so into it anymore. they put media vest on us now, and it's like all right, I can't say much of that.
What do you think of the vest situation? I had to wear a scorekeeper vest a few times, and I conveniently forgot to put it on a couple times too because it just smelled like probably how my socks smell right
Sure.
now coming off the course.
Yeah.
I'm guessing there's not a lot of washing procedures for those.
I might volunteer to hit the laundromat for him.
Oh, they did?
No, I'm gonna volunteer.
Oh, that's a great volunteer. Yeah,
really
I was
good.
gonna say I would have taken them all home and put them in our washer dryer.
I'm sure
and
the
just brought them back.
scorecard ones are used by like different people every day,
Multiple times a day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
They handed me one that someone else was wearing, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, but just a different one.
Sure.
That's a little too. That's a little too quick."
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
we try to get the same number media vest.
Oh, that's smart.
So, like
Yeah.
we that way it's just what we've had.
Just keep some Febreze in the car.
And there's less of it, so it's a little bit different. But I'm a fan of the vest. Like when we were on tour last week as a media, like all you had was a simple badge that everyone else had.
Oh, and it just said media.
Yeah.
I think the vest helps. It helps you get you through. Yeah.
And that was my problem. So like whenever we push that line of where media is allowed to go and where the spectator lines are, like everyone just assumed we were spectators. And like so we even suggested like you need some delegation or delineation here of like these people are different.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that's a chance to make special T-shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
you should have done that.
T-shirts would be great.
Yeah, something along
I'll
those
take some
lines.
free t-shirts.
Yeah.
Come on.
You're pretty good at getting free stuff.
Yeah,
I actually
it
am.
does good for you.
I got this figured out.
Yeah, this kid at every stop gets a free disc from somebody. It's wild.
Well, I was gonna say, what's your favorite free thing you've gotten so far? You've got a lot of discs in your bag that have stories. What's your favorite?
That's not even the cool things I could tell about. I can get the things I've stolen from the events. I'm just kidding. Well, not really.
Yeah, we are gonna air
He's
this.
not really kidding.
Well, they're not like they're stupid things. Like
Yeah,
I
we take
have a
two.
bathroom sign from USDGC that I got signed by Kyle Klein after he won because I was like, it was hung up on my like bathroom.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, no one else is gonna have that. Like,
That's
that's
pretty clutch. Yeah.
So like that's one of them. I mean, I got the vibe just recently from Hooligan. One of their warehouse workers saw me and he's like, "Oh, you're the one that makes fun of discs. Here you go." I'm like, cool. I just made fun of all your discs. That's dope. I can try it now.
Give me something.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of all. I do
I
just
know you got
randomly
like a
get-
Waco Club one.
Yeah, they're just like remember us by.
Yeah,
your
here's the
disc.
Waco Club one.
Dylan Cease gave me a buzz when we played around because I was like, he said this is a mid-range course, and I was like, I don't have a mid-range, and he's like, here you go. So he gave me a 6-claw buzz.
That's pretty sick.
That's dope.
Dylan
yeah.
C's
Yeah.
collection is sick.
Yeah.
I bet.
Oh yeah, and that's just what he got for free too.
Yeah, yeah. Adam Hammis gave me my putters because he was drunk, I think, and was like, "You need to pull focuses." I'm like, "I'm gonna pull focuses." Yeah, those are some ones.
That's pretty sick.
I got a lot more, but yeah.
So, before we get you guys out of here, you guys are infamous for, and I guess maybe we should bring up your Instagram as well, where I feel like a little bit more of this happens. But you're very critical of certain discs. I'd say very critical of certain discs. Let's hear it once and for all.
Yeah.
Top 5 most hated discs, starting from your least hated to most hated.
Okay, well, the problem is I don't think I can spit discs I hate, but I don't know if I can give you an order off the top.
All right,
I can
we'll
give you
go
number
5.
1 though. I can give you
Okay.
number 1 is The Truth.
Okay. What makes the truth
Man, you
so
could,
hated?
if I just well, can I just say dynamic discs? Is that allowed?
I think
Let's
that's
set account for 2 spots. Okay, so all dynamic discs are 5 and 4.
But specifically
Okay.
The Truth on top. Then.
Truth.
Okay.
I want
Jefferson
Truth
hates
1
the
and
truth.
dynamic discs in 2.
That's the deal. All right.
Yeah.
That sucks because I really want to say Justice now, but I can't.
You
The
can-
Glitch, the Berg. You probably put the Berg ahead of that.
You bag a glitch though.
Yeah, but I got it from an old guy in a parking lot to take this.
So you just keep carrying it around.
Just so I can tell people this is the way I got it.
That's sick.
I've
Okay,
only
fair.
ever played Cracker Barrel disc golf with it. I've never played a real round of disc
Yeah.
golf.
Oh, that's fun. That's a great disc to have for Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you throw it to the little grassy spots around the Cracker Barrel?
We have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to do that too.
USDGC we
Yeah.
did.
What?
The USDGC Cracker Barrel is sick because like pros stay at like the hotels and they have pins around there.
Oh, sick.
That one's legit.
Pretty dope.
Yeah, that one's like a great. Cool. Yeah, that's a great Cracker Barrel. Yeah.
Tell me, can you break down your hate of the Berg? Everybody I know loves the Berg, and I get a lot of shit 'cause my name's Free
Who
Berg.
do you know?
And I don't.
This is
I
a
don't
good,
bag
this
one.
is a good thing.
You
don't bag one.
No,
Okay.
but
Is it that
everybody's telling
bad?
me I should, but I don't understand.
Yeah,
Like, I feel like I'm ready to like put some milk in it and get like breakfast. Or where's Layla?
Little cinnamon
Look at the water bottle.
Yeah. No, honestly, the funny thing is that if people are actually mad about, I'll break character for a second for
Yeah.
Berdogi. It's like, I honestly, everything I say is an inside joke with
Yeah.
someone or some person, and like
Okay.
that's the only reason I do it. Like if unfortunately, if you know me and you talk about a disc you really like, that's probably you. But like, yeah, so like everything I do is just like, so back home, everyone throws the Berg. Everyone just loves the Berg. So my first video, I'm like, I'm going to do like, because I didn't know anybody or I didn't have any views, subscribers or anything. So I was like, I'm going to make this funny video to the people back home. So I shit on the Berg. And then that comment section was like, I realized don't fuck with Berg.
Berg,
But then people started
Yeah.
understanding the joke more. In the beginning days of Berdogi, no one understood that I was like kidding.
I like to hate on James Conrad just because everybody loves him so much. I've never met the guy. I'm sure he's really cool. But
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just like, I saw the great shot, the holy shot or whatever, the Jesus shot, and it was really cool, and I liked it, and I appreciated it. Thought it was a cool thing.
Yeah.
But then everybody was a little too high on him. It's like he didn't make
Yeah,
that.
he's
I mean,
not-
Hey, you're right.
he
Yeah,
made it on
100%.
purpose.
That
but,
that,
like,
that next year where everyone's like, oh, he's gonna win another, and I'm like, guys, he's finishing 30, 20s.
Yeah. He had a run, and of course he plays well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then made 3 incredible shots to put himself
made
in that spot.
Yeah.
Shit ton of money for him and MVP. Like,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
like-
Made
MVP
MVP.
doesn't
Yeah.
get Simon. If
Oh,
he
no,
doesn't, if the holy
he
shot
made
doesn't
it.
go in,
Yeah. No.
you know, we're not.
yeah, he made what MVP
Yeah.
is now.
Yeah.
And so I respect the round, but I like to pick on the guy. Just so you know.
Yeah, you're gonna get a lot of shit for that one, dog.
Yeah, probably. No, I do. I do. Yeah.
For the guy that gets a lot of shit, man, they're picking that one.
Yeah, that may be crossing a line.
Oh shit.
that-
Is it
Yeah.
sacrilege?
I don't think I've ever heard anyone say. Didn't someone just say like I know if I like someone or not?
Yes.
They like James Conrad.
Yeah,
or not?
like,
I know the other person.
He's the classic. Like, if you don't like James
don't like
Conrad,
James
I know
Conrad?
you're an asshole. Like that's kind of like the talk. Like, but
The
to
shoe
be fair,
fits.
you said you haven't met him. Like
Yeah.
if you meet him and then you still have that opinion, then
I can appreciate the joke.
I'm sure
Yeah.
you will change if you actually meet.
It's kind of the same joke with a Berg, but I've talked
Yeah.
enough shit about the Berg where I can't really bag one now either.
Yeah,
because
He also
like,
can never get a cart for how
Yeah.
he shits on carts.
yeah, I shit on carts a lot too.
Yeah, carts.
Yeah.
Carts are no joke.
I'm young, so I'll hate on him
Yeah,
still.
he'll hit 'em.
Yeah, well, I'm not, and that's the thing.
Yeah, I
we,
get it.
we get those long tournaments with a backup, and the old legs are stiffening up, and all my boys are sitting down, enjoying themselves, and I'm just like, oh,
Pulling out our
I'm a
Cooler.
cart guy. Yeah, I'm a cart guy when I'm
You're a
at home.
Rovik. You don't even have the
I
seat.
don't have the seat. I'm a Rovik guy.
Oh, that's but that's I mean the most effortless cart.
Yeah,
yeah.
That one's a breeze.
Well, you
Yeah.
can take the most places, and
Yeah.
All right, so I guess we'll leave the Berg on top of most hated.
No, truth.
Truth at the top,
Yeah, yeah.
and then Berg at the bottom.
Dynamic disc. in
That makes me
general,
feel bad. The Berg's at the bottom.
yeah. Sure, man.
I bagged it. I think he like bagged a Berg for a brief moment. At one
And
point
that's the
too.
problem. Is like I have all this catalog of videos from
Yeah.
years of doing it, so I
Yeah.
can look back at my bag and like most of the discs I talk shit about. I'm like, damn, I bagged that for a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
like it's all like
I bagged a Berg for a minute. I thought I fell into that trap.
if you're gonna talk shit about it, you have to have bagged it for a little while. I feel
Sure.
like you have to have had it in your hands.
It's like, man, Berg is one of the. There's certain discs that like let's have like certain connotations. Like the buzz guys, like everybody who has a buzz has to tell you about their buzz and like how it's the greatest disc. Like you know what I mean? And Berg kind of has that same.
Yep.
the Berg.
Everybody
is a
who
cult.
has a Berg is it's the best.
It is
disc
kind of
ever.
culty.
It's a cult.
So
Yeah.
like and Berg is, but there's
And I don't care if someone trying to tell me how this disc is so great because I can throw it 100 feet, not throw it past 100 feet. I don't care.
yeah.
Just jump putt.
Just jump putt.
if that's their 100-foot disc and they can't,
Yeah.
they're. I mean, what are we
Do you
doing?
need? Then you're not that great, right?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry that seems really aggressive, but like at the same time, it's like it's 100 feet, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
You got to say hot take before stuff like that.
apparently.
That's
Yeah.
yeah.
So what do you guys got coming up that you wanted to plug? I know you guys will be here in Austin for the USW DGC. I'm sure you would love it if anyone's in town to come up and say hi
Yeah, man.
and start a conversation.
USWG DGC, absolutely. Everybody who's kind of saying hi, that's cool. Yeah, we're gonna be on the look. We'll probably hit up some local courses. We don't know what yet.
You guys will head to the Dillo, right?
Yeah, we're definitely
Yeah,
gonna hit the
that's for
Dillo.
sure.
Dillo.
What's a day you guys are going to the Dillo that people might run into you down there?
I think we don't plan ahead. We didn't even know.
Yeah,
we
we
were
don't.
coming here
Yeah, we
today.
didn't even know where. Yeah, we
That's
live in a
fair
van, man. We can do what we want. Tuesdays are usually our slowest days. So usually, and like sometimes Monday, depending if we can write Sunday night. Mondays usually are a good time where we can get an afternoon round. Like Wednesdays, we're usually doing on the course stuff, practice course, and pressers now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I would recommend getting as many courses as you can around here. We're
Absolutely.
very arrogant about our Austin being one of the best places.
Would you say it's a mecca?
I would not say it's mega.
I was
but-
specifically going to avoid it.
Armadillo, when you go to the Armadillo,
Sure.
and we said it earlier, and I feel embarrassed now that we called it kind of a mecca. But what it is just a celebration of disc golf. It's no claim of being the greatest course. It's certainly no claim of being like anything. It's really just all the vibe of disc golf. It's just an absolute shrine to it. The entire course. They have a cool little
You guys
like.
have a ton of pitch and putts here in like
Yeah.
Texas too, and that's like kind of neat. I dig that.
The mini out at Dillo is one of the best things in disc golf.
I've
The
seen it
mini
on social
is-
media. For
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
It's-
almost. They're worried they're going to
so
be
cool.
let down.
Yeah, it's one of those.
You
like-
already built up too high.
Yeah, like you see it so much
Yeah.
that like that's what we've like said.
If
Like
you don't walk away with an ace, it's gonna be disappointing. I feel.
because there's
you
been
got to keep playing.
there's been stops on tour where like we like I've been like, oh man, I thought this course was gonna be great, and I get to it and I'm like,
Yeah, the mini is fun. I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think I think it's good enough where it might not live up to your expectations, but I don't think you'll be disappointed.
Either way, it's like a Texas rite of passage. I think
I
if you're
completely
here,
agree,
You
yeah.
gotta find- you got to do
We
it.
gotta record it. So either way.
Yeah.
There's also another good course down there that's like on the campus, which is just a straight up good disc golf course. No-
Good is not the word I'd use.
Okay, what do you
It
say, Trevor?
exists still.
I played it like
it's
2
a little
years
rough.
ago. It's still a little rough.
A lot rough.
Hey, I played around with you now. Your opinion's gold. Like what you tell me is I'm gonna go with it. So
I would avoid that course then.
there you
No, he
go.
was
I
throwing a
haven't played it in a couple
coyote
years.
earlier.
Let's throw it
He was throwing a
coyote,
coyote.
man.
You're gonna say
Last
his
time I was out
opinion
there.
matters? Come on, bro. Come on.
Hey, the coyote was flying good today.
It was
did.
fun.
It did.
It doesn't always
You
fly
impressed
good.
me. You threw a coyote and impressed me, man. I'll be real. That was sick.
Oh man.
I mean, like, if you're gonna spend time going to a course, I just wouldn't recommend that one.
That's true. Almost better to make your way towards Houston and hit some of those along the way.
Seguin.
Seguin's a
Stark
real
Park.
good one.
Stark Park is It's a pitch and putt.
Okay.
It's gorgeous. It's got good shade if it's hot.
I got
And
you.
the only
Bunch of
issue
unique
sometimes
shots,
it's not
too.
mowed.
Yeah, we've been those like what I've heard. Sparkle, Dillo,
Yeah.
Sprinkle. Sorry, yeah, I
Sprinkle.
keep
Fuck it
going.
up.
I do.
Don't
it all
worry.
the time.
That's okay.
And then Dino is kind
Dino
of
Hills, yep.
Yeah,
Dino
that's
Hills
what
is
everyone's
mine.
been kind of.
That always makes the, I think, top 100 list.
Yeah, we
all
don't
the
pay
time.
for courses. That's
Yeah, that's our
problem.
problem.
I will bet a simple email to them.
We're in.
Okay.
You're in.
I like how we have that power. Now.
I know.
Yeah.
That's fresh. Usually, we used to have to just sneak on them.
I know.
Well, we're working towards that power, but we don't have it yet.
Pay for play in like our area is wild, and that's
don't do
another
that.
regional thing that we see. Like pay for play.
It's huge in the Northeast.
Oh yeah,
It's
everywhere,
everything,
everywhere.
everything.
But their
Tea
discs
time.
are cheaper, so like I kind of am okay with it.
Like balances
nah.
Dude,
out.
like like their discs are like $15 when we were there. Like,
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
it was wild. I was like, what's going on here? I wanted to like almost buy stuff in mass. Like
Just resell it?
yeah,
Yeah,
like so like their discs for whatever reason were cheaper up, and everywhere I went in like Northeast, they were like reasonably priced.
Weird.
And but
That's
like
weird.
but every course is a pay for play, and
Everyone.
it's like oh man, really? Like
It's the balance of it.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, screw that.
Yeah.
It's disc golf, dude. It's supposed to be free.
I had a thought that some investment, like if I owned, maybe not Inova is the best, but if I owned MVP, I would have a plan that next year I'm installing 8 MVP disc golf courses
Sure.
across America and some of the better, or just like if it was here in Austin, like I'll sponsor Seawright or Roy G, and it'll just be and I will pay for the upkeep,
That's kind
whatever.
of what they do with Maple Hill.
Yeah, and I think if that model kind of spread across, like if I was trying to invest, I don't know if I would pay for advertising. I would just be where disc golfers already are,
that's
and
not
then
a bad idea.
make their experience as good as possible, and then have them attribute a good experience with my brand.
Sure.
And then maybe they'll check out my stuff.
Absolutely, especially
More
with
business
like all
tips
these,
from Nick.
Yeah,
I know. Apparently.
especially with like
I want to get a notebook.
I know.
Also, I thought when you said new business plan, the thing I thought you were going to say was we need to just build a plan and patent a drainable, excellent like tee pad,
you
and then
go.
sell that patent to the PDGA.
That's not bad.
Another business plan by Nicholas Barr.
Right, there you go.
Yeah,
That's better than what I would have thought of. So well done.
cheap
Six.
as.
Someone will
Maybe
do
a
it
4
one
out of
day.
10.
Someone
Not a
will
very-
do it.
Yeah. If we copyright, no, we're fine. The idea is somewhat secure.
Copy.
All right. Well, it's we've been at this for a minute. We won't hold you guys up too much longer, but we can't thank you enough for not only like the gracefulness of giving us some of your time, but like as someone who has watched you for a long time, and just over the last 2 years, how much you've seen your growth. For you to give time to a group of guys who's just kind of getting started and trying to get their brand going, man, I think it really embodies the spirit of disc golf and like truly growing the sport. And I mean, I'm sure I speak for
You
everyone.
guys are
but
about
thank
to
you guys
make
so
it.
much.
You guys are going to be mentioned on Twig. Like,
Hell yeah.
like you guys are gonna make it. But we'll see. Hey, man, I
much
hope,
are you gonna roast
man,
us?
Nah, man, no. It's, this is a great time. We don't get this. Like, man, everything like we told you our day.
Yeah.
Write, edit, go to the.
You know how
like,
happy I'm not
like,
gonna have to touch any
I'm
of
done.
this. To, like,
I just got to spit for like this long, and like I get to leave. Like this is
That's
great.
sick.
Like, but yeah, no, like it's we're the one thing that we talked about. It was hard enough when we came up. We want to make it easier for everybody else that's coming up. So anybody who wants to hit us up on stuff, if we can find the time, we'll try.
Love it.
100%.
Love it. Well, definitely look us up while you're in town.
Sure.
If you need a Sherpa for any of the courses the next few
Awesome,
days,
man. Cool.
let a brother know.
Barbecue or food recommendations, which I feel like getting food just sort of slipped underneath the radar here. Anyone else is starving. I feel like my stomach like has garbled a couple times. So apologize. We just kind of came in here
You're
and
good.
started getting
Hey,
into
man,
it.
we get it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, man. Trust me, we adjust a lot.
Yeah.
We live in a van. Again, I
Okay,
can't.
so Disc Golf World at Disc Golf World on YouTube, right? At Disc
Disc
Golf
Golf
World on
World.
YouTube, and then your other Instagram, is that just Berdogi at Berdogi?
It's a YouTube, yeah. It's
YouTube is-
actually, yeah.
okay.
You see Berdogi. I don't even pump that stuff, so yeah.
Oh yeah.
Go find
Why
it.
don't you pump Berg?
I don't know because it's offensive. Like I'm gonna be like worried one day if that's like what I'm known for.
You want to like you didn't know people don't know that it's Berdogi. Like
Yeah, a lot of people
some people
don't-
haven't made that
yeah,
connection.
That it's you got the same.
That
That might be nice.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well,
you
now
always
like the problem is there's still people that comment that do know.
Okay.
So like it's not.
He's
and-
changing lives, man. People are getting different putters.
Yeah, 2 people said they stopped putting with judges because of me. It's awesome.
doing God's
Saving
work.
lives one at a time.
Berdogi is my style. I like that. That's fun, man.
We were just saying earlier. I'm like, I'm gonna be known as the disc golf content creator that says "cuck." Like that's awesome.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
He's one of the few.
Good stuff, fellas. Good stuff.
All right, guys. Well,
Thanks, man.
from everyone here at Barely Stable, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate Disc Golf World for coming in. Again, we have USW DGC coming up here in Austin in the next couple days. Make sure you keep an eye out for all their content with that. And I'm sure they'll be down at Houston States for a coverage there as they continue being on the road all the way through Champions Cup up in the Midwest. So check out Disc Golf World. Make sure you like and subscribe at the end. This is the Barely Stable podcast for Mr. Freeberg, the guys in the booth. We'll see you on the next one.
Just be cool.
Time, weather, and always pass.